So we know that Germany was expanding in Europe and invading other countries, consolidating power, making alliances, getting resources. The same sort of thing was going on in Asia by Japan. By the time that World War One had started, Japan was pretty powerful. It had gone to war with Russia, and that was a stalemate. It had beat China in a war. It had invaded and controlled Korea, and it had invaded and controlled parts of China. For Japan, this whole thing was really a question of them becoming internationally respected. After World War One, they signed all kinds of international peace agreements to make to kind of put them in the same league as the United States and Russia and Great Britain and France. It started a two-party political system with a prime minister and sort of modeled after the British system. So it was trying to modernize itself and reflect the same values of the West to become respected by the West. But when the world slipped into depression, so did Japan. And the loss of jobs and the loss of and when the economy faltered, a lot of people in the country began to suffer. A lot of the people began to lose faith in the new systems that were created, the democratic Western systems that were created, and they began to look towards the military for leadership. And the military was glad to step into the void of power. It all kind of started during this thing known historically as the Manchurian Incident. Manchuria is a region of China. To give you some background on it, Japan at this time, before World War II, after World War I, had 65 million people in it and was adding about 1 million people a year. Remember, this is an island, so they don't have enough resources to provide for everything everybody that lives on the island. And they didn't want to have to rely on other people. They wanted to be able to be self-sufficient. So they invaded Korea, took over Korea, and they really began to look into a northern section of China, far away from the capital of China, called Manchuria. Very resource-rich area. The army, without the permission of the democratic government, invaded China, took control of this area. Japanese military made up some claims about the Chinese were blowing up railroads and communications, so they were going in to protect the area from the Chinese farmers, the Japanese farmers who were already living there. The army went in to protect those from the Chinese radicals, and they also said from the regular Chinese people who welcomed them, and they really did not. Japan took control of the area, renamed it Manchukuo, and said now it's under Japanese protection. This was a modern army. The Chinese army could not fight the Japanese army, and they knew it. So they sent businessmen, they sent farmers in there to take over all the farming country, and they created a puppet government. A puppet government is the government that is under control of another government or state. Japan knew that it had broken a lot of the peace treaties that it signed, so it withdrew from all the international peace treaties that it had signed after World War I. This is the guy they put in charge of Manchukuo. Military influence began to grow in Japan itself. A lot of government politicians were assassinated who opposed the military, and pretty soon the government was run by the military. In fact, the leader of the military was eventually appointed prime minister. Eventually, Japan used another incident to invade more of China and take over more areas of China, and this was what is traditionally known as the Rape of Nanking. China's ancient imperial capital. 300,000 of the 600,000 people that lived in Nanking were supposedly killed or abused by the Chinese when they took over Nanking. It's called the Rape of Nanking because tens of thousands of women were raped. And we'll watch a short video on this in class if you remind me. It was horrific. And we will come back. We'll finish this lecture in the next segment.